Where do I put this thing? Hey everyone, welcome back to Boots and Back Roads. No tutorial today. Today I'm going to be talking about everybody's favorite, the Stinky Slinky. We all know it, we all dread it, but it's part of life in the RV world. So we failed to store our Stinky Slinky properly for the first 2 or 3 seasons. And finally last year I came up with what I felt is a great way to store it. Keeps it out of the van, keeps it out of your storage, and makes everything clean and a little bit more sanitary. So without further ado, I'm going to show you our failed spots first. Failed spot number 1, factory spot. So most of these vans come with a sewer hose from the factory that fits in this neat little door right here. The problem with those hoses, they're very thin, not very well made, and eventually will break. The fittings are integrated into the hose because that's the only way they can make one fit in it. Here I have my Camco sewer hose. Pretty standard, comes in a kit. 20 feet of hose, all the fittings, elbow adapter, works great. We've been using this for, it's probably 4 or 5 years old now. Have never had an issue with it, but you will notice that's not going to fit in there. And you're like, okay, you're just going to take this fitting off, right? Oh, that doesn't fit in there either. So what you're left with is a space that is absolutely worthless unless you use the factory hose, which eventually fails, and then you'd have to buy another factory hose, and that's one's going to fail. So if you ever decide that you want to upgrade to a better hose, that pretty much takes this one out of the equation. In fact, as you can see in here, it's not even functional anymore. I ended up cutting the pipe off on the inside of the van to make more room in my boiler room, because like I said, we can't use this thing, and I would be willing to bet that the majority of you can't use it either. Failed option number 2. This little cabinet area, it's not even a cabinet area, this is an access area to your plumbing underneath the toilet. And we have seen where people on the Thor forums have actually turned this into a removable door, so that they could use this kind of dead space under here to store their Stinky Slinky. Well, my problem with that is you are now storing your Stinky Slinky inside your living space of the van. And I think we all know these things aren't super airtight. I can just imagine that it eventually would smell like sewer or smell like your hose. I just didn't want it in the living space of the van, so this was failed option number 2. Storage failure number 3. 7.7 gallon lockable lid trash can. We thought this would be the cat's meow. So all of our Stinky Slinky stuff went in here, and it fit absolutely perfect. Had the spare hose, the main hose, the fittings, could lock it, wouldn't loosen up, keep it in the storage compartment, out of the van, life was good. Well, not so much, because what we noticed was over time, all of this cool stuff that we have in here would smell like sewer hose. Not to mention the fact that I had my water hose in here, our chairs in here, our mat in here, and every time we would sit in our chair, I could just smell this little bit of a smell. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think we should have the sewer hose inside our storage area with any of our stuff. We need to find a way to get this thing out of the van, away from our stuff, its own sanitary little spot. And I found it. Option number 4 was a winner. This is the Valterra sewer storage hose holder. Got this on Amazon. This one extends out, I think it'll go 6-7 feet, maybe more than that. fits any standard sewer hose perfectly. And I also opted to get the accessory holder, also made by Valterra, because this will actually fit the 90-degree elbow that we use on the end of our sewer hose. So now I'm able to get our sewer hose, our 90-degree, everything that we use every time we have to drain the tanks on this van is here on the back of our storage container. It's not in the van, not in our living space, not in our storage container. It's outside, all on its own. I've seen these mounted differently on pull-behind RVs and Class B vans like ours. A lot of people, I've seen them mounted under the bumper. I've seen them mounted kind of back in under the van. We don't really have that option because we have a generator under the van. I've also seen them mounted here on the bike rack, and kind of the same deal. Not really an option for us because we wouldn't be able to use the bike rack if we wanted to, and I think they would get in the way of our storage box when we wanted to lift the lid up. So what I came up with was to just mount them to the back of the storage box, and it's pretty simple. There's tabs on both ends, and all I did was use 1/4-inch bolts. See, there's 2 here, 2 on the back side, 2 here, 2 here. I just marked where I wanted this to go, drilled 1/4-inch holes, used some 1.5-inch, 1/4-inch bolts. I used fender washers on inside and outside. Super simple. I think it took me about 20-25 minutes to do the project. All right, so how these things work, it's pretty simple. Just a small twist pops the covers off, store them up out of the way. I guess I kind of do that. But you can see, I think this one is 5 inches in diameter, and this one is 7 inches in diameter. So they fit the sewer hose and the 90-degree elbow perfectly. Now, one thing I will say, because this is extendable, it does have a ridge on the inside where the 2 pieces go in and out of each other. And my experience with this has been, I have to feed the hose in from the driver's side and pull it out from the passenger side. Otherwise, the fittings on my hose want to get caught on that lip. Once I figured that out, it's a piece of cake. I just take the cap off on the other side of this, pull it out, put everything together, hook it up to the van, do my business, and when I'm finished, I load it in this way, and I'll demonstrate how I do that for you right now. So just to kind of wrap it up, this is the method that we found works best for us. Keeps it out of the van. It's kind of hidden behind the storage container. It's really kind of a dead space here, so it was just a perfect fit for us. What I've noticed, the covers can go on a little dry. You gotta finagle them a little bit sometimes, especially when you're in a hurry, you've dumped and there's a 65-foot RV behind you waiting to use the dump station. So I don't foresee these things ever coming off, but I just use these little carabiners just as kind of like a fail-safe. If this is something that you guys would like to do, I will put a link in the description for the sewer hose holder, the accessory holder, and I'll give you a hardware list as well that I use to install this. You could buy my to take away your